I come on live to talk about self-love. As you know, I have a passion for self-love. If you've been here before, if you've heard me speak before, you will know that everything I teach revolves around self-love. So welcome to Self-Love Friday. And today we're talking about self-discipline. You might think that is really strange because last week I was talking about what do you really want? What is your true desire? So let me just explain a little bit. To clarify, when I say self-love is about understanding your true desire and what you really want, as I said last week, I'm speaking about when I talk about self-discipline, I'm talking about it as in making choices and making the choice between what you really want most for yourself, as in want now. And that's where self is. What are your deepest desires? And if you look at what you want now, very often they're not the same thing. And that's where self-discipline comes in. So I say that self-love is choosing what you want most over the one thing that I think is a pity about discipline is that it's often associated with punishment. So really, if you're going to view discipline as punishment, then this is going to be a very hard concept for you to take on board. So let's just unpack that. I'm not talking about discipline as punishment. I'm talking about discipline as in making the right choice. I am talking about discipline as a form of self-respect. So making the choice that works to support your goals, making the choice that works to support your dreams, delaying the momentary pleasure. So rather choosing, basing your actions on a choice for what you want most for yourself and for your life, the dream of your life, rather than choosing the moment of pleasure. Sometimes they go hand in hand. Sometimes there is great pleasure in the choices that support your dreams and your goals and your vision for yourself. And sometimes there isn't. I like to say that instead of seeing self-discipline as a punishment, to see yourself as a trusted guardian rather. So you're stepping in and you're saying, I am the trusted guardian of my soul. I am the trusted guardian of my mind, of my body, of my entire being. And in that energy, I'm going to make choices that serve the highest good and the greatest want of my life. So what I want most versus what I think I want now. A great example is if you were entrusted to take care of your best friend's children or pets, you certainly would not give them chocolate if you knew that they were highly allergic to chocolate and they would get really, really sick and possibly even die. No matter how much they begged or whined or pleaded, you wouldn't do it. You would put yourself in a position of discomfort. You would have to say no. So the discomfort would be the difficulty of saying no to maybe somebody smaller, younger, a pet. It would be the difficulty of dealing with their disappointment. But you would do it. Probably much easier than you realize because to take care of them, you are a trusted guardian in that case. So in that case, when it comes to somebody else's well-being, somebody that you care about, somebody that you've been entrusted to look after, like a child or a pet, you make that decision and you stick by it, and it seems simple, and that's discipline. So that is choosing what you know to be best in that situation over the instant desire, the desire of the moment. I say that it's key to see your inner being as the same. You need to become the trusted guardian for yourself. The fact of the matter is, your body is extremely wise. Your soul is clever. You have been domesticated by society. You have been programmed by this world that we live in. That means that most of the time, and I'm actually going to say most of the time, I wanted to say half of the time, but it's way more than half. Most of the time, it's not connected to your soul's deepest desire at all, but it's connected to your programming. So often, hello JJ UK, thank you so much for being here. JJ says, that is such, acknowledge my friend Mia Van Logge, whom 1 week ago, now we had just finished a wonderful brunch breakfast together. And she uses the term guardian in her program. She does the most amazing work. The course with her and the concept of self-defense being a form of self-love really blew my mind and really stopped me to think. Her stuff is amazing. And that's a term that she uses, guardian, and I find it so powerful. So JJ, thanks for acknowledging that. It is very powerful. So yes, that's what I was saying. So we are actually so programmed and so domesticated into the world that we live in, into the society that we live in. So half the time we think we want something, and it's actually just a momentary desire. It's the senses. And the senses are wonderful things, and they bring us such great pleasure. But when that pleasure starts coming at a cost of a greater desire, a deeper want for ourselves, then what's the point of giving in to that moment of pleasure? So being the guardian, being our own best friend, and taking care of ourselves as best we would, as we would our best friend's children or pets, is to say, I love you too much to let you do that thing. Something that might be used as an example is, in the moment, you might want to drink the whole bottle of wine. However, what you've developed, so yes, you're programmed and domesticated by the society that we live in. Over time, though, we learn better than, I think, a lot of the time. What we do is we ignore what we do know, and we go with the moment of pleasure. So over time, you will have learned, let's use the wine as an example, that if I drink the whole bottle of wine, comes, what's the word I'm looking for? Sluggish. You have to take a bottle of wine every time you feel like it. Over the long term, there are going to be results. So in the moment, to be your own guardian, to be your own best friend, is make the self-discipline choice and say, okay, great. So wine would be great. So under which circumstances does wine work for me? 2 glasses works, 2 glasses at a time. Great. Stick to that. Make that choice when you feel like it. 2 glasses every day. I don't have anything big to do the next day, either physically or mentally. Okay, great. Then after I've spoken at the conference, those are the self-discipline choices. Those are the choices that, another example is if you're studying for a big exam and you decide not to study and think, oh, I'll wing it. Procrastination is one of the ways that we allow ourselves, that we're permissive with ourselves in a moment for the sake of pleasure, and it could be the pleasure of valuable. I was talking with a friend last night about taking out the recycling as an example. So it might not be enjoyable. It's cold outside. It's raining. It's awkward because you have to go to the bin and lift the bin up and empty the head before. It's not fun. It's not a fun. My home to be tidy. Therefore, I will take the moment and push through the difficulty and the desire to procrastinate, the desire to ignore it, and I'll make it happen. 5 minutes later, it'll be done. And the thing that I most want for myself, that I most want, according to my higher self, that I want for the highest vision of my life, will be in place. Part of the highest vision of cycling stuff lying all over the floor. So therefore, by pushing through that moment of discipline, the life that I want, what I want most, versus self-love is self-discipline, it comes down to knowing yourself. So it's really important to take the time let's go back to what I was saying last week about what you really want. It's not about the momentary pleasure or the true dreams that you have for your life, the goals that you ache to achieve, the things that you think about first thing in the morning when you wake up, the things, identifying them, getting clarity on them, knowing your reactions, knowing and understanding your triggers in life and what your stumbling blocks could be, just like you would know they like to sleep at this time, they like to eat at that time, they need to be bathed, how often, and they're highly allergic to chocolate. It makes them terribly ill and might kill them. So you get all that information. With yourself, you need to do that for yourself. You need to love yourself enough to know yourself first. Make the choice between what do I want most for myself versus what do I want now. So get to know yourself. Get to know the dream of your life. Commit to it. And that's how I get to say that self-love is self-discipline. Self-discipline does not have to be punishment, does not have to be ugly, or I would like to share that I have recently decided that I want to allocate a bit more time in my day to studying. And what I've noticed is that I get really sucked into my work because I love it so much, sort of at some point during the morning, and then I go until I've decided to add an extra hour into my morning routine for study time. So I've pulled back my morning and I'm starting to wake up a little bit earlier. It is forcing me to go to sleep a bit earlier as well, but it's really enjoyable. And when you're in that warm, cozy bed and you wake up naturally maybe at 4:30 and you think, oh no, I'm just going to. So for me, what I found is I was doing that and I've been loving it. I have absolutely loved it and it's been good for me. I needed the rest. But lately, since I started setting my alarm early again, which is really just a week old, earlier, every day, I've definitely achieved more steps towards things that I want for the dream of my life. I am closer to my goals. 4 days in feels really good. Another example is sports people. Sports people do not become good at what they do by talent alone. There are many sports people who claim that they didn't have what skill takes to develop is self-discipline. Lots and lots of self-discipline. Practice, practice. And therefore, we need to try that. That does work. Try it again and again and again. Repeat, repeat, repeat until the skill is there and you're really good at it. Life is the same. Life is a game. We are all sports people in the game of life. And what we need to do is know ourselves first, understand how we work, watch ourselves. Pick one thing, one small area of your life where you believe that a little bit of self-discipline could help you get closer to the dream of your life, and your goals. So pick one little area and implement some self-discipline. And then please let me know how it goes, because I really hope to hear back from you. It's definitely a form of self-love, which is the highest form of love there is. And I will be back here again next week, Friday, for more self-love talk. So in the meantime, practice some self-discipline and loads of self-love. Ciao for now. Mwah.